A fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Cheaper, cleaner, and homegrown. Pump it up with unleaded 88.
We recommend listening to the CW Pod with a glass of Steeple Ridge Bourbon. Grown, distilled, well-rested, and bottled in Erling, Iowa. Now from the Channel Seed Studios, this is the CW Pod, fueled by Steeple Ridge.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to CW Pod here on just a spur of the moment Tuesday night, doing a little reaction to the college football playoff. What else would I be responding to? Rankings came out for the first time tonight, and I'm going to just give you my quick opinions on this. I don't have a lot to say, but I do have some Big 12 stuff. So let's get to that. I want to thank our friends from Steeple Ridge Bourbon, the presenting sponsor of CW Pod. This is exactly what I thought would happen to the Big 12, BYU. And first of all, I also want to note, I'm not like freaking out about any of this. Like, this is not outrage. I'm not. They treated BYU just like I thought the Big 12 would get treated. BYU, compared to just put them beside Indiana, teams that they have played, BYU, strength of schedule 61. Indiana, strength of schedule 103. BYU 9, Indiana 8. BYU behind 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams with a loss. Just in front of Notre Dame, who is 7-1. Of course, had that loss to Northern Illinois. Your next Big 12 team, Iowa State at 17. Kansas State at 19, Colorado at 20. Again, no outrage here. Totally expected this. You know, the problem, I think if I'm BYU right now is I'm looking at my remaining schedule. How else can you impress these people? It was supposed to be this week at Utah. That's not going to happen. Nothing going to impress you there. Kansas, at Arizona State, and Houston. It's pretty much it for BYU. Indiana's strength of schedule is going to get a lot better. They're going to get tested. They've got Ohio State coming up, right? Like, we're going to learn a lot more about the Hoosiers. In my opinion, the committee has already made up its mind on the Big 12 conference and specifically on, BYU in this instance. So it is what it is. This is exactly what I thought would happen. I think it looks really, really, really difficult for the Big 12 to get 2 teams in. Sorry, I know a lot of you are going to be pissed yelling at me. I've thought this since July that this exact scenario would happen with 4 Big 10 teams in tonight and 4 from the SEC as well. BYU wins at SMU, who's number 13. They're 8-1 on the outside looking in. The Notre Dame thing, I kind of get now. It's like they have a worse loss by far. Their win over Texas A&M, their win over Louisville has to mean something, but they're going to get in because they're Notre Dame. We all know that. As long as they're 11-1, nothing else matters. Notre Dame's going to get in. And here's the deal, like, I can't even intellectually sit here and say, like, oh yeah, I think BYU's better than Ohio State or Georgia. I don't. You just stack up what they've done, they should be ahead of Indiana, though. Unless you're just going off of Indiana just killing teams. And if that's the case, if that's, what it is, then okay. Really dominated the opposition. I can't argue that. I'm not anti-Indiana here. And again, this is an outrage. This is the first one. But my point is, if we're putting BYU at 9, with the schedule that they have remaining, you're not giving there's not much of an opportunity for them to impress you. This is about as good as it's going to get for Indiana, for BYU. Also tells me, it's for Iowa State fans, We kind of knew it. It's going to be really tough to you're going to have to win the Big 12, right? And that's not a surprise. Like, we all kind of thought that if you maybe unless you went into that championship game undefeated at 12-0 with the two 12-0s, like maybe you kind of had a shot. Man, maybe that's still the case. But I think Iowa State's going to have to win out to make it to the college football playoff. That's going to be the case for any of these Big 12 teams that are in the rank, that are in the race at this point. Notable, no Iowa. Nobody was expecting that. Just in case some Iowa fans are listening to this. But yeah, pretty. Alabama at 6-2 at number 11. Do they deserve that over SMU? At 8-1. I don't know. I haven't dove into the numbers again. I'm not dancing around here like happy about anything. This is exactly what I thought would happen. This is to a T exactly what I thought would happen. And it looks like the Big 12 will be a one-bid league. That is my initial reaction. Aiden's in here producing for me tonight. I want to bring him in just to get somebody else. Did anything stand out to you when you watched this? Two lost SEC schools ahead of Iowa State. It almost made me kind of laugh because, again, we all saw this coming. Mm-hmm. But I thought that was kind of interesting because when I thought Iowa State would be around 17, that seemed about right. I didn't. If anything, I thought they may have Iowa State worse than 17, worse than where they were in the polls. Yeah, and I mean, it was just kind of funny to see those three. This is exactly what I thought we were going to get out of this. The good thing is it's so early. It just none of this really matters. But the problem, the other problem that I see here, we all are told that the AP poll doesn't matter. That none of these polls matter. The only poll that matters is the college football playoff poll. The problem is that these college football playoff voters they're human beings and they are influenced by other people. So when, Indiana, for instance, you could make the argument that, and I would make the argument if Indiana was Michigan, okay, and they had the exact same resume, and you replaced Indiana with Michigan, and they're the maize and blue. Do you think that Indiana would be 8 right now at 9-0, or do you think that maybe they would be 2 behind Oregon? I would argue that they would probably be 2. Or they're going to be closer to 2 than they would be 8. If you replace BYU with wins at SMU and just crushing Kansas State the way that they did. So that's 2 wins against top 25 teams there. 1 in the top 15 out of conference. That has to account for something. You're going out of conference and playing a tough game. If that's the case, and let's say replace them with Notre Dame. Give Notre Dame BYU's resume. Think they're 9? They're not 9. But both of those teams started the season out of the top 25. Well, it doesn't matter, Chris. I understand that, but I'm saying that these voters are influenced. So if your perception going into something is that these teams suck, then they just have to do a lot more to impress you. And, I mean, I've been guilty with that. I've been picking against BYU for weeks now. Right? So, that's it. I'm just not surprised. I'm not taking a victory lap here. I'm not even outraged. It's exactly what I thought it would be. And I'm not even screaming that, Indiana shouldn't be a spot ahead of I'm just giving you the numbers. I'm not Indiana has just crushed every team that they've played. I completely respect that. They're just killing everybody in front of them. Clearly the committee likes that. That's their prerogative. But the numbers say BYU should be ahead of them. But the problem is it's the perception. Right. And you've got whatever. I'm talking in circles here. It's exactly what I thought would be. And this is going to be a deal where year in, year out, it's the Big Ten and the SEC with 4 apiece more often than not. And that's what makes all the restructuring and wanting the guarantee thing so outrageous to me, because you already have all the power. Like, what do you need more for? You're already taking all the money the way this thing is set up. You already have all the power. Look at the initial rankings tonight. You already make more than everybody else. You already have all these advantages. Like, why do you need more? It's just greed. And that's what college football, unfortunately, really, for the most part, that's the basis of the entire sport. So there you have it. Iowa State at number 17. Another opportunity for the Cyclones on Saturday against a Kansas team that looks really bad on paper, but they've got a lot of close losses. Certainly a game that I am not taking for granted for Iowa State is only a 3-point favorite against a 2-win team. That is a terrifying statistic right there. We are presented, as always, by our friends at Steeple Ridge Bourbon here in the Channel Seed Studios. Thanks to Aiden Wyatt for hopping on tonight. Quick little CW pod here on your Tuesday night. I'm Chris Williams. We will be back. Two guys coming up on Thursday at 8:30. Murph and Andy will be live on Wednesday at 11. Later.